Hi guys, welcome to Farmer Fridays, where I get to interview agriculturists all over the state of West Virginia and now different parts of the nation. For today's guest, I feel like I'm, bringing a best friend on right now. We have Pheobe Taylor, who is an FFA advisor in Sissonville. So I'm actually going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and her agricultural background.
Hi, my name is Pheobe Taylor. I am a graduate of West Virginia University. I graduated in 2022 in May, and then I actually was hired on as the teacher here at Sissonville before I graduated. So that was kind of a cool experience. I wasn't expecting to get a job straight out of college. Normally, agriculture educators have a hard time finding somewhere to work after they graduate. So that was really, really cool for me.
That's awesome. When you were growing up, what led you into the agricultural career that you are in right now?
So both sides of my family have been agriculturists for as long as records have been kept. So my grandparents owned a 200 and some acre farm,
Wow.
and they would make all of their own products. Like, they still made their own butter even after my mom started high school and even after she graduated. So that's really cool. My grandmother was in charge of the food for the whole family, and she grew a garden and canned, and she didn't start working in industry until after all of her kids had graduated from high school and had moved out. So
Wow.
that was a really cool experience. That was kind of like, people think that old time farmers and people who like actually relied on the things that they were making stopped in like the early 1900s, but up until the 1980s, that's what my family was doing on my mom's side. On my dad's side, it was a little bit different. My grandparents, they on my dad's side also had a farm, but they had a more production type farm.
Okay.
So they were making and selling like meat products instead of the produce and everything. But it's in my roots.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be a really cool upbringing for you. And, I also know that you were heavily involved in FFA in high school as well. What were you able to do during your time at FFA, and how do you think that kind of led you to this pathway?
So, yes, FFA was a huge part of my whole high school career and middle school. I actually started when I was in the seventh grade in
That's awesome.
2012, and I graduated in 2018, and then I stayed in FFA until I aged out at 21, and I actually got my American degree. So I'm
That's
super proud of
huge.
that.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal for me. Um, FFA opened so many doors for me. If it wasn't for FFA, I would not be here talking to you today. I was one of those stereotypical, very shy kids. In seventh grade, I think I talked to like three people,
Hmm.
including the teachers. it was uh, it was an experience. And then I was kind of grandfathered into FFA because my dad was an FFA when he was in high school, and my sister was an FFA when she was in high school. And so I wanted to join because they joined, not because I wanted to like learn about animals or anything like that, but because I wanted to be a legacy kid. I wanted to
Exactly.
make them proud, and I wanted to do the same things that they did. So I joined for those reasons. And then after I joined, those reasons changed drastically. By the time I graduated, FFA was the most important part of my life. And I still believe that FFA is still a huge part of my life, even now.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. You're the ag teacher at Sissonville FFA, or Sissonville High School, excuse me. But you're also the advisor for the FFA chapter. We'll get into that in a minute. So you left, was it Ripley High School, if I remember correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so you left Ripley and then went to WVU. What experiences did you get to have there?
Oh, I love WVU. It was fantastic. My professors there were phenomenal.
Hmm.
So I think my favorite experience was actually working with Dr. Scott Bowdridge at the West Virginia Agronomy Farm, and we were in charge of the sheep herds there. And we got to help the graduate students run Barrowman tests, and we helped collect fecal samples on the sheep that were there. And Carter, my husband, and I both were a part of that, and it was such a cool experience. My favorite class was lambing management, and we actually stayed overnight at the farm, and we like lived in the loft in the farm for the whole night. And we were awake pretty much all night because we were doing 2-hour lamb checks. And then we had an 8 a.m. class.
Yeah, that's always rough. So I think it's kind of cool to kind of draw a lot of parallels between your experiences and then my experiences too. I was an extremely introverted child in high school and middle school, didn't talk to anybody, but being a part of FFA really opened up, who I was, and opened up, kind of allowed me to figure out how to open my mouth, if that makes sense. And then
Absolutely.
my time at WVU was very similar. My time during my undergrad actually was very similar to yours in the sense that I also helped with research with sheep and goats. We both worked on the Haemonchus contortus parasite. It's just phenomenal to hear your story. So now you graduated WVU and you have an awesome job. And you said the other day that you say all the time that you have the best job in the universe. So tell me about the best job in the universe.
Oh my gosh, I definitely have the best job in the universe. So my whole job, I get to work with FFA and I get to work with high school students who some of them don't know anything about agriculture.
Mhm.
And so I get to be that introduction to agriculture that they will look back on whenever, they go into industry or after they graduate and they're starting to do like hobby farming or growing gardens or even plants inside. So I just love my job so much. My kids are fantastic.
Well, that's awesome. So you actually you have established the agricultural program at Sissonville High School. That's
Yes.
that's huge. So what does your current program look like?
So right now, as a first year chapter, we have 147 at the beginning of the year. I'm not really sure how our numbers have fluctuated since. 147 students enrolled in the agriculture class.
Okay.
And I have 30 students that were enrolled in FFA. One of them has since transferred to Ripley. So now we have 29. But we actually just had our officer interviews for next year's chapter officers, and 13 of my 29 students applied to be chapter officers, which
That's
I think is
amazing.
huge. I was so excited.
Yeah, FFA is a great way for you to find those leadership opportunities and grow as a leader in your community, grow as a leader in your high school. So I love that. And I love that so many of your students are willing to take that opportunity. That's so exciting. So right now, you guys have a ton of agricultural introduction courses. How is that going to expand next year or maybe the year after that?
So yes, this year I teach 6 classes of introduction to agriculture, and sometimes that's getting very repetitive, and I'm ready for a change. Next year we're introducing an animal systems class, and I actually just wrote a grant and submitted a grant for $15,000, and we're going to use that money to put in an animal handling facility so that we can do things with rabbits and chickens and ducks and maybe some small animals like sheep and goats, and have the students bottle feed those and just give them a hands-on experience in the classroom that they're maybe not getting at home, because a
That's
lot of my
amazing.
don't have any animals at home. I have tons of kids that this is the first that they've heard of, like, terminology for animals. Like, they thought cows was just everything. Then we learned bulls and steers and heifers, and it's very exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I love that you have plans moving forward. You've got so many great ideas to grow this program and make sure that your students have all of these amazing opportunities like you did growing up. So you've got the plan for the animal handling facility. Tell me about the grant that you just wrote that got accepted to teach a certain skill on potentially cattle farms.
Yes, I was so excited when you got to help out with that. So we just got a AI simulator from Reality Works Incorporated, and we are so excited about it because I think we're the first ones in the state to have that.
That's
I could be
phenomenal.
wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're the first. And we're just very excited about giving that opportunity to the students.
Yeah, 100%. Now, it's a really, I guess, specialized skill to have. What are your hopes when students learn about this skill? What are your hopes for them afterwards?
So actually, there are about 4 AI technicians that are in our area, and that's it. And it sometimes is hard to schedule as a beef producer, to get those people to come
Mhm.
out and to work on the farm. So I'm hoping if I can get a few kids interested in it, they'll choose that as a career path, and eventually there'll be more than 3 in our region.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be huge. And I think that's one of the great things about any sort of agricultural classroom or, getting involved in FFA is figuring out that there's so many different career pathways that you can choose as an agriculturist. You don't have to own a farm. You don't have to work on a farm in order to become a part of the ag industry. Are there any other, plans that you have in the future to maybe help get children or the youth in Sissonville excited about a potential career in agriculture?
Absolutely. We also are planning on putting in a plant systems class and building a greenhouse. And I would love to teach them floriculture design. I think that is so important. And there's not a florist in Sissonville. So
Really?
that's an untapped potential that my students could start after they graduate. And it's very exciting for me that that is something that I can teach them. After the plant science course, their final year in high school will culminate into a food science and technology class, and they'll pull aspects from plant science and pull aspects from animal science, and we'll do a farm to table type class with that food science. And I'm just very excited about teaching the students how to can and how to like use the products that we're making, specifically meats. I think it would be so cool to put in a meats lab eventually. They're actually talking about the possibility of putting in another ag teacher here in the next 5 years. So
Wow.
if I can prove that there is a need for us, possibly there's a need for another teacher here.
I mean, how could you not prove that there's a need for you guys? Like, I mean, there's agriculture is needed every single day. And having the future of agriculture literally at Sissonville High School that's huge. So yeah, I don't think you're gonna have a hard time proving that need. So you were talking about the farm to school, or pardon me, the farm to table class that you're gonna have. Um, what are your hopes with that? Because that's going to be an amazing opportunity, not just for your students, but for the entire school as a whole.
Yes. So actually, our end goal for that is to utilize the things that we're growing here at the school in the greenhouse and in the animal handling facility in our school cafeteria, and to make that connection between growing our food and eating our food, and having the students that are in my classrooms also consuming the products that they're making, which I think is a huge thing.
What's that video that's out there right now? And the sound is, it's like a reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it is, because I mean, you are able to take the fruits of your labor and, get that reward right back. And that's going to be a really great opportunity for your students. And not only are you teaching, how all of that process works, but you're also teaching how to create those value added products. You were talking about canning, and I was in her classroom the other day, guys, and there's an entire shelf full of canning materials, which is awesome, because that's such a great skill to have and a great skill to learn. And I think we as young adults have forgotten about that skill at times. So thank gosh for my grandmother, and thank gosh for my mom, who's been able to pass that information down to me. And you're going to do just that for people who maybe don't have that person at home to teach them. So that's going to be awesome. And not only are they going to be able to have that for their own personal life, but maybe they'll start selling their own products and have a cottage food company in West Virginia. How awesome is that?
I'm so excited for the possibilities for the program and my students. And I just look forward to seeing where we head in the future.
Yeah, there's so many different opportunities. And because you guys are so new, I think your opportunities and your possibilities are definitely endless. And I think you were telling me the other day that you had the opportunity to take on a job where the position was already set, where the program was already built. And I think
Yeah.
you had multiple opportunities to take jobs like that. And yet you chose to start a brand new program. Why is that?
So yes, there was 2 different existing programs that came open at the same time that I heard about Sissonville. And I had a hard time trying to decide what I was going to do because one of those schools that the position came open was my alma mater, and I could have gone back home. And the other was my student teaching placement. And I fell in love with my students and I cried when I left them. So it was a very hard decision for me. But the deciding factor finally was that if I didn't come to Sissonville, they weren't going to have a backup plan. I was the only person that was interested in the position. And if I hadn't come, they wouldn't have had a program. So I am so thankful now that I made that decision and that I decided to step out of my comfort zone and start a program as a new teacher. People were actually warning me against it. They were like, it's a lot of work. You're a new teacher. Like, you're going to overwhelm yourself. You're going to burn yourself out. But I love my job. And I couldn't imagine loving anything more than I love Sissonville right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really brave decision and it's scary at times. I'm so sure. Like, I'm so sure when you first started all of this, it was like, oh my gosh, what did I get into? But you've fallen in love with your students already. You've fallen in love with the position. You've got so many of these amazing plans. And I honestly don't think there could have been a better person for that position. So
Thank you.
I'm excited to see how you guys grow. I'm excited to see what your chapter does moving forward, and where you guys are able to take this program. You were also talking the other day about you're about to start a horse judging team.
Yes, absolutely. We're very excited about that.
Oh yeah, you guys should be.
I know nothing about horses, but my girls were like, "We want to judge horses," and so I was like, "Okay, if you want to do it, let's do it."
Yeah, I mean that's how everything starts. You know, sometimes you don't know as much as you really want to know before you start a project, but that's the whole point of it. It's a project. It's a growth opportunity. It's a learning opportunity, and you guys are jumping headfirst into those opportunities, and I could not love that more.
Yes, we definitely are resonating with your Growing Up, Growing Ag platform this year. Uh, we are definitely growing.
Yeah, and I mean that's all you can do. One of my favorite quotes is actually from the musical Hamilton, and it's oh gosh, how does it start? Oh, what is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. So sometimes you don't always get to see how your legacy is going to unfold. You don't always get to see the fruits of your labor, but you will see them in the future. So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's going to be hard when you first start out. Sometimes it's going to be difficult, but I can guarantee you with what you're doing, you're leaving your lasting legacy and your students are leaving their legacy as establishing this FFA chapter, as establishing this agricultural program this year. And years to come, you're going to be able to see the fruits of your labor come to fruition. You're going to be able to see that legacy unfold. So I'm so excited for you guys.
Thank you. We're also very excited. We have big plans for the future. This year,
Absolutely.
we have very much emphasized community service, and my students for National FFA Week actually had 3 community service projects planned. One of them had to be postponed due to weather on Saturday. However, we did finish the other 2. We helped the Sojourners Women's Shelter in Charleston and donated items there, and that actually led to us having more opportunities to connect with Sojourners and work with the children that are there at the women's shelter as well. So we're going to be going back and doing some activities with the kids and teaching the kids about agriculture a little bit, maybe some coloring pages and whatnot.
Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps. That's awesome. What an awesome opportunity for your kids. That is phenomenal. And I'm sure you have plans for more community service activities, right?
Oh, absolutely. We love community service. My students, the other program that we did this week was they collected items for the local Humane Society in Kanawha County. They had actually posted on their Facebook page that they were completely out of wet dog food and running critically low on dry dog food. And so
Wow.
2 of the officers were like, "We feel really passionately about this. We want to spearhead this. Please, can we do this?" And I was like, "Absolutely, you can. I love that you're taking an interest in your community. I love that you are paying attention to the needs of the community. Like,
Mhm.
that's phenomenal. I'm so proud of you." And they took all of those items that we collected down on Saturday, and they're just very excited. They're looking forward to working with the Kanawha County Humane Society some more in the future.
one of the parts of the FFA motto is living to serve. That's the end of the FFA motto. And you guys are definitely making that happen. You guys are truly living to serve. And I couldn't love that more. So
Yes.
for those of you watching at home, I was able to meet Pheobe Taylor at the Kanawha County Farm Bureau meeting when I was up there to speak. And I kind of wanted to also talk about something that you do outside. You and your family, they own Taylor Family Farms and Custom Meats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my husband and his parents are actually the owners and operators of the business, and I just kind of help out because I came in a little later than they did. But yeah, we have about 100 head of cattle right now. We're actually in the middle of calving season. That's what I was doing yesterday. We had a stubborn heifer that didn't want to take her calf, so we were out there in the middle of the cold last night.
So even though you are working so hard, you're also leaving school and working just as hard after that too.
Yeah, it's a balance. I
Yeah.
try not to take work home with me, and I try to not take home to work with me. It works out for the most part. Sometimes things are a little bit conflicting. For example, Winter Blues was Saturday, and we also had 3 community service projects on Saturday. So I kind of had to let my kids take over, and I wasn't there for them as much on Saturday as I would have liked to have been. But Winter Blues was a huge success, and I'm so glad that I went.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that you're so active in both places, in the agricultural world, outside of the school system, and you are very, very active directly inside of the school system. So I mean, it's tough. What you're doing is very tough, but you are, again, absolutely amazing. And I couldn't imagine anybody better for this job.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot, especially coming from you.
Oh my gosh, no, 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 no. So is there anything else that you might want to add to what you're doing towards your goals for the future, or do you want to shout out for community help? Is there anything that the community can do for you guys?
I don't think so. Our community has already been so supportive, and the students and the administration and the teachers and everybody here at the school, they're just phenomenal. And I really am I'm in awe of the things that we've been able to accomplish as a first year chapter, and the things that we've been allowed to do because the school has been so supportive and the community has been so supportive. We are very excited about a future community service project that we're partnering with West Virginia State University for. We're going to be planting trees that WV State is going to be supplying for us, and we're very excited. It's actually multiple chapters across the state are going to be participating, and we're just very excited for that opportunity in the future.
Oh, that's huge. That's going to be so good. I love the opportunity to get your hands dirty. That's going to
Yeah.
be good. And that's pretty cool that WVU State is helping to make that happen. I think we don't hear enough about them and what they are doing for agriculture in West Virginia.
Yeah,
So
they're actually starting to shift a little bit into the agricultural industry. So we're very excited for them to be, they're not taking away from WVU, but they're going to be
mhm.
adding to and adding some extra things for students who maybe don't have the opportunity to go to WVU. So we're very excited to be partnering with them.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about their program. Keeping my fingers crossed to potentially get an interview with somebody there. So I can't wait. I'll keep an eye out. And everybody at home who's listening, make sure you keep an eye out too. There's some big stuff happening. I mean, right here in the state of West Virginia, there's always big stuff happening. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and another thing that my students are going to be doing actually this Friday, we're going to the legislature for Career Technical Education Day, and we're going to be doing a presentation on why FFA is so important, what FFA is all about, and trying to get Kanawha County to add more programs in the county because we're the first in a high school in Kanawha County. There is some programs in technical schools here, but we're the first high school FFA chapter in Kanawha County. So we're hoping to expand beyond our chapter and add other chapters at other schools.
And one of the things that I say all the time when I visit FFA chapters, when I do any sort of keynote speaking, is the ability to use your voice. That's how you're going to make that difference. That's how you're going to make that impact. And your students are doing just that. They're using their voice to make that impact. So that's so exciting. That's going to be a really great opportunity. I mean, I feel like I've said that 1,000,001 times throughout this interview today. That's going to be a great opportunity, but I really think FFA provides those opportunities. I think you as an agricultural advisor are making sure that your kids have those many different opportunities to take advantage of. And all it takes is one person to say, yeah, I want to take that opportunity. And yeah, I want to make sure that we can make that happen, for somebody's life to change, for you to make that community impact. And I love that you're doing that every single day.
I wouldn't be able to do my job if it wasn't for the wonderful students that I have. They have taken FFA and they have dived head first, no questions asked. Anything that I mentioned, they're like, yes, let's do it.
Oh,
So,
I'm sure that some students are finally just excited to have that opportunity because, like we mentioned in the beginning, this is the first opportunity that Sissonville High School is getting. So
yes.
yeah.
So, specifically, one of my freshmen, she's my Creed speaker this year. She wrote in a letter to her sponsor for her jacket this year how FFA is the first time she's ever felt accepted in her academic career. And I teared up when I was reading it
Yeah.
because that means so much.
And that's going to make you feel really good because you are the reason that's happening. So
It's
yeah.
they're exceeding all expectations. I never thought that we would be competing in contests our first year as a chapter. So having a Creed speaker, an upperclassman Creed speaker, and a horse judging team our first year out of the gate is just beyond my wildest dreams. I'm so excited and so happy.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. So I also wanted to quickly touch on something, and I might cut this out later, but I wanted to ask you, you guys are so close to Charleston, so close to the state capital, so close to a major city in the state of West Virginia. Are you guys planning on trying to do any sort of urban planning or urban agricultural work to
I
help out the city of Charleston?
hadn't thought about that, but that is a wonderful idea. That is definitely something for us to think about and a possibility for the future. I am so glad that you brought that up because I did not think about it.
No. I mean, you've got 1,000,001 things on your plate right now, but I was just talking to somebody from Marshall University the other day. If you guys are listening at home, check out the podcast done with Amy White Parsons from Marshall University. But she is talking about a program that they're going to try to start at Marshall. And it's going to be about urban agriculture and developing that ability to start a farming area in the urban cities or in urban areas is definitely what I meant to say. But I think, having that ability here in the state of West Virginia and pushing agriculture in those areas is going to be super crucial moving forward. I mean, West Virginia is only growing and those areas are only getting bigger. And if we don't make sure that agriculture is still put in the forefront, it's going to be a catastrophe moving forward.
So, my students actually last week just watched a TED Talk on urban beekeeping
Oh,
and
okay.
the importance of bees in our environment and how they are dying at huge rates right now. So, possibly we might get into urban beekeeping in addition. There was a couple students that were very interested in that. So,
That would be awesome. Oh my gosh.
those would be some
Again,
cool experiences, and having those students do those as SAEs, maybe we can get on the national stage.
yeah, that would be huge. I mean, how many people have that as an SAE?
I have no idea. I don't know that I've ever heard of it.
I don't think I have either. So that's going to be awesome. Hopefully you guys can maybe get involved in that or, just find a way to jump into the city of Charleston to make sure that the youth in Charleston have some sort of idea of what agriculture is and maybe get, different adults excited about the possibility of supporting an agricultural industry or an agricultural commodity. So that might be something that you guys can eventually branch into. You guys have so many things happening right now. But that's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited for all of the opportunities that we may have in the future. So we'll see where we go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me about your program. I am sure going to be on the lookout to see what you guys are doing next. And for anybody watching at home or listening at home, make sure you guys keep an eye out for Sissonville FFA. They're up and coming and they're going to be amazing. And I'm pretty sure they're going to take FFA by storm here in the state of West Virginia. So, but I might be a little biased, but you know, so thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week to see who I might have for my Farmer Friday. And as always, please remember to thank your farmers.